Thanks for what you do with your podcast and all the rest. You're doing a great job. Hope everybody keeps tuning in. You get a lot of good info, a lot of insights, understandings of how to get strong, how to stay strong, how to use your strength.
You do a great job, dude. You make things better than they are in real life, I think.
If you don't follow Massenomics, y'all do it. Social media, website, everything.
Massenomics.
Yeah.
Guess who's back again. Tell some friends. Massenomics podcast back for episode 411. We are the lifting podcast about nothing, recorded live from western northeast South Dakota and eastern southeast South Dakota. My name is, as usual, Tanner.
And my name, as usual, also is Tommy. And as usual, we're also joined by Hit the Button, Tanner. No, not that one. The other one.
Oh, not Stained. Right there.
With the twins.
There we go. We got the twins.
And I got a special announcement for this episode also, if you're ready for this one. Here we go. I don't know if that came across.
It did not come through at all.
Well, the listeners will know that I am, in fact, down with the sickness, as Disturbed was alluding to right there. So this is the flu episode where Michael Jordan, game 5, I think, of like the 97
I was going to say
finals.
6, but I also don't keep track of that stuff. So.
Yeah, I think it's game 5 against
so
the
Jazz.
Put on,
this is you're alluding to you're going to have the performance of your life tonight.
Yeah, you're going to have to carry me off the podcast like Scottie Pippen at the end of this one. I'll be like so drained. I don't know how you could play a basketball game when you're sick with the flu.
Hey, you got to be Michael Jordan.
Yeah, being sick is one of those things that you really don't appreciate how crappy it is until like the day after you're done with it. You're like, I'll be fine forever.
Glad that's done. Never have to deal with that again.
Right. And then when you're in it, you're like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened. Yeah.
This is it. I've had a good run. It's over.
Yeah. But the show must go on no matter what. So this isn't going to be the thing that stops us shy of 411
Hell no.
weeks with a new episode. And also, I want to tell everyone about Juggernaut AI. This is training that Tommy and I have both used, and it's what you can use to get stronger. If you check them out at juggernautai.app, that's the website. That's where you can go find out more information. And if you're thinking about signing up, that's where we would want you to sign up, because that's where you can use discount code Massenomics. That'll save you 10% for the lifetime of your membership. So if you're a little bit stuck in your training or gotten stagnant, I would encourage you to go check it out. It's very affordable. It costs like $30 per month, and it might be the thing to put you over the hump to take you to that next step. So check them out at juggernautai.app.
And today's episode is also brought to you by Bearfoot Shoes, our favorite barefoot shoes on the market today. And I'll get the little discount code right out front. You can use code Massenomics to save 10% on your next order at barefoot.store. But barefoot shoes are designed with minimal restrictions so your feet can move the way they're supposed to. Move with more strength and confidence in every step. Barefoot Shoes was founded by Chris Duffin, who attributes proper foot biomechanics as foundational to his success in squatting and deadlifting over 1,000 pounds for reps. He helped create the company to provide a minimalist shoe that can be worn for anything from deadlifts to walking your dog. Go to www.barefoot.store, and while you're there, make sure to use code Massenomics to save 10% on your next order. Thank you, Bearfoot Shoes.
Well, thanks, Barefoot. I haven't been outside the house once today, but I did notice it snowed a little bit here.
Well, I thought we were supposed to get a bunch of snow and didn't have anything all day. And then all of a sudden, about 6 o'clock, it really started coming down. And then I had to go pick up something at the store right before the podcast. And it was really coming down. It was really slippery. There was an accident in the road. Things were getting nasty. I would not want to be making a road trip in the
just
current
as long
state
as it gets that out of its system before the Arnold trip.
God, I know, right? Can't be risking this.
Yeah, we're like 10 days out from leaving for the Arnold, probably something like that.
Well, 2 weeks from today, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
Wednesday.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
2 weeks from today, right around the corner.
Yeah,
so
can't hold anything back now, can we?
Cannot hold anything back right now. So is it safe to say, Tanner, you're not having a romantic Valentine's Day tonight?
No, No, I'm barely alive right now. So like, there's no room for romance. Like I'm just in pure survival mode. Like whatever I can to just hang. I'm just hanging on by a thread.
And pure survival mode means podcast, right?
Yes. Yes. Priorities, obviously.
Yeah.
Actually, all my family is gone, so it's not a bad time for them to not have to deal with my sickness right now.
Right.
So they don't have to worry about like horrific dad sickness.
Yeah.
You know, like
they can stay clear. You're basically in quarantine at this point.
I know. That is what today felt like. What a waste of a day when you're sick, though. Like I'll just sit here thinking of the things I should be doing. I'm like, I don't have the energy to do any of those things.
It is the worst. It is the worst. We snuck away. You know, while the kids were at daycare, we before we picked them up, we made our way to a local watering hole and had a couple of beverages and a little bit of food. And I might have a new favorite mixed drink, Tanner. That's probably the first thing that's at the top of your mind right now is
An old fashioned?
No, not quite an old fashioned.
Gin and tonic?
Nope, not a gin and tonic either. Do you want to just keep guessing for a while?
Blackberry brandy and 7-Up?
No, not that either.
Okay, that was my best guess.
It was what I don't know why I ordered this. It's typically not what I order, but this past weekend we went to a place to eat in town, and then there's like this cocktail bar right next to it, and we stopped in there, and I don't even know if the place had beer. I think they only make fancy drinks, and for whatever reason, the one that jumped out at me, it was called the Horse's Neck, and it was some type of bourbon, ginger beer, something fruit of some kind mixed in. And it was so damn good. I'm not even much of a bourbon mixed drink type of guy. I don't have a problem with it.
So is it something you'd know how to order at other places? Like, could you order that? Or would it be, they'd be like, what?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's their fancy name. And also this place, you can tell they put a little extra tender love and care into the drink.
Yeah.
It was all done right. But tonight we went to a place and I'm like, that basically is a Moscow. I mean, it's like a mule of sorts. They had a mule. It was like I can't remember what they called it, a mule of some kind. And it was very similar. You could tell it was not quite made with the same love and tender care. And the thing that really made the other one just go crazy for me is it had just the right level of carbonation. It had that sparkliness to it. This one was more of a flatter one. But that's my new beverage, man. That thing's money. It's so good.
So is it served in a normal glass on the rocks?
It was served in a tall, skinny glass.
Okay.
I don't know what he calls it.
The Moscow Mule's usually in like a copper.
The one I had tonight was under the mule section, so it was in a copper mug. The one I had the other night was in a highball glass.
Okay.
Also, just so happened to be that the bar I got it at was called Highball, so I guess it works out, you know.
No small coincidence there.
No, not there.
So that's your new sip and drink.
That does it, man. The right level of sparkliness. You get that mix of flavor in there. It was good stuff.
What's the show with the guys in the 60s where they
Mad Men?
Yeah, would that be your Mad Men drink?
That probably fits into there somewhere, I'd think.
Yeah. Did you ever watch that show?
That was before I would watch any TV shows. Yep. To me, that show makes me think of one of the first shows that was on Netflix, you know, as far as a TV series. And
I think I've seen it all, but it's been a long time.
Oh, and I remember everyone hyping it up, saying, "This is the show you got to watch." Yes. And I tried to start watching it, and I was probably 21 at the time, and realized, I don't have it in me to watch a 6-season show or something. And I think I got through 5 episodes, and I said, "I'll just tap out. I'm good for now."
Yeah,
so that's all the farther I've made it.
Well, that's probably fair. The Super Bowl went on. The Chiefs won in overtime.
They did.
Overtime of the Super Bowl.
It wasn't the best game. You know, It was...
the finish was interesting.
The finish was interesting. There was a while there where it was a lot of just back and forth, nothing crazy going on, but I don't know. It built up to be something interesting at the end. But you just know the Chiefs are going to pull this off at the end. You just have that feeling.
Oops, they did it again.
They did do it again.
I actually, just over the course of the last week, I had picked that I want the Chiefs to win less than the 49ers, and I had changed my mind that I do actually want the Chiefs to win more.
You did?
And here's the only reason why. Not so much about the Super Bowl, the football game itself, but
because everyone hates the Chiefs, so you had to flip sides?
Well, that's actually part of it.
Dude, that was actually starting to change my opinion too.
Right, because I don't like
everyone whining about
right.
the NFL being rigged, Taylor Swift,
right.
Mahomes,
Like all the Taylor
this
Swift stuff. And I'm like, no,
okay.
now I actually kind of want them
Dude,
to win.
I was
since
of the
everyone
same
else
mentality. Like
Yeah.
when it was going into it at a certain point, I'm like, everyone's whining so much about the Chiefs. I would just love to see them just make people whine more.
That's kind of where I flipped the script on mine. And then the other thing in addition to that is I realized I really like the New Heights podcast, which is Travis and Jason Kelsey.
Mm-hmm.
It is
So you still
really
have been
good.
listening to that?
I just started listening to it in like the last couple of weeks.
Yep.
And it's really good. It's very
I saw
entertaining.
a list the other day. They're like
It's
the
like
number
one of the
7
top.
podcast on
yeah.
iTunes right now, I think.
And I can see why. It's actually really cool when you're like, these guys are dudes in the NFL. Like the guy played in the Super Bowl, and then like a day later they record their podcast about just them shooting the shit. It's like just a couple brothers shooting the shit, except it just happens
They're also
to be like
2 of the best in the world at what they do as well.
right. Just like us on the Massenomics podcast, really. So
just like
But
all podcasts nowadays, just full of
it
experts.
it is good, and I just think they're both pretty entertaining. So that made me be more like, no, actually, in addition to the points you brought up, that made me be more interested in them winning.
I could see that. How did you feel about the halftime show?
I am on record that I don't like everyone always complaining about the halftime show because that's another thing where I'm like, no matter what, everyone always complains about the halftime show. So I try to not complain about the halftime show. That being said, I do think it sucked, but I would never post that on Facebook and stuff like that. But I enjoyed some of the cameos. Was like the only part of the halftime show I actually liked. I like Alicia Keys and Ludacris being on there and stuff like that. But
I'm not an Usher fan by any means. I totally get why people like him. Just not typically.
He's right in my era of where I should
he
like
was,
it, but I just
to me
like
when we were growing up, he was
Confessions
always the
of-
thing of like, oh no, he writes the music girls like that was the thing.
That's-
It's like
yes,
he's writing
that's
the love
exactly what I
songs to
think.
girls, you know.
right.
But my objective opinion of the halftime show is that's exactly what you want it to be. It was pretty inoffensive. It was.
Yes.
I will be the first to admit I thought it was entertaining as far as halftime shows go. I didn't find anything wrong with it. There's definitely been worse ones. So to me, it did its job. That was its thing.
Yeah. I semi fell asleep during it also, so I could
So it really did its job. It just-
yeah. So it was like hard for me to rate it because they seem so long that I'm like,
They do.
this just goes on.
Are they
forever.
even 10 minutes though? Is it?
Probably not.
Like 8 to 10 minutes, something like that. I did get done with it though, and I'm just thinking about other halftime shows because they're always just like, it's the halftime show, it's whatever. And I don't know why in my head the Prince halftime show crossed my mind, and I thought, you know what? I have not seen that thing in probably close to 10 years. So after the Super Bowl, I had to pull up the Prince halftime show, and man, if that thing doesn't make you feel something, I don't know if you're alive, man. That was not only is it entertaining, but that's a show. That's good. So if you haven't watched that one ever, or if it's been a while, I recommend people pull that one out.
Stained. They should get Stained for the halftime show.
They just come out and just sing that song 4 times in a row, and then it's done.
What was last year's?
Last year was Rihanna, right?
Oh, okay, yeah, that's good. I liked the Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, 50 Cent one.
That one was pretty good too.
I think it's weird, like the contact that like I know people are making everything's a meme from the Super Bowl, but like the Usher and Alicia Keys thing seems a little like that.
Little
Like, even at the
touchy-feely.
time, I'm like, this seems like slightly uncomfortable for me. Like what's going on here?
It does, but then at the same time, you say, they're performers, and then also,
Right.
I don't know, people.
And that's kind of like Usher's thing. Like I guess Usher's thing is being like overly sexual towards women in his songs.
Yeah.
Which is like that's a weird thing to be your thing kind of to me, and that's probably
And then
why
at
I
the
just
same
don't
time, you
like
think of it's
this
like, well,
music that much.
People also have jobs of being actors and actresses, and they actually have
and they do way more than that.
fake sex with each other in movies.
Right.
You know?
That's true too.
Which is just a
If
whole
you look
other
at it in terms of it just being performance, like an actor would be, then it's not that. It's not actually that offensive. But I remember at the time watching it before there was even memes and just thinking,
Dude,
this seems odd.
I'm right there with you. I thought the exact same thing.
And then the Sheffield went on too, right?
Just the monumental weekend for sporting events.
Right, the Sheffield and the Super Bowl. And Sheffield results, like the biggest thing, we even talked about this before, My biggest takeaway on that is last year with Jesus winning, it seemed like a really big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And this year with him not winning, at least from our corner of the world, it's almost like, oh, that happened. Oh, okay, that's nice.
Dude,
like,
it does.
who
It
gives
just
a shit.
as far as we'll be the first to admit we don't pay super close attention to to competitions.
Yeah.
But man, that took for me the care out of it. That's not to discredit any of the achievements anyone else did. I have no idea actually what people even placed. I don't even know.
Here, let me tell you the winner. Have you heard of this name? Gustav Hedlund.
No, I don't even know what weight class and numbers, anything. Like, do you have those
That's kind of
numbers
my
pulled up?
Yeah.
Even?
I don't know. He's in the 93 kilogram class and he lifted 895 kilograms. But Jesus got 11th out of 12th, actually.
Yeah. Because didn't he have to, he got behind.
Well, it's just,
His squat went good, didn't it?
Yeah, I think he broke a new world record squat.
Yeah. His squat went good. And then I think bench kind of put him behind a little bit. And then with deadlift, he was really falling behind. So then he have to just go for a all or nothing pull at the end. Wasn't that how it worked out?
Yeah, but when I look at this list of 12 names of this international list of drug-tested powerlifting, I'm like, I actually know like 3 of the names, and Jesus is the only one that's really sticks out to me.
Jesus, and then isn't there the 83 guy from America?
Delaney Wallace.
Nope, not that one.
Okay, he got third.
Keiko or...
Oh, yeah. Keiko is the 93 kilogram. He got second.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I do recognize him.
And then in the women's side, Agatha won.
Yeah, and I do know her name.
Till Natalie Richards got
her
9th,
too,
and Amanda Lawrence got 11th. Really, also, if it's not an American winning,
oh god,
or Canadian, like if Jessica was there and winning it, that would be equally interesting. But if it's not like a North American, then I'm also like far less interested too.
Mm-hmm.
Like this they had to have seen far less publicity out of it this year than when Jesus won last year, right?
You would think. I mean, maybe at the moment it's still getting the same numbers, but then the splash afterwards has to just be. I mean, the life of it afterwards has to just die so fast.
Yeah, I'd say the hardcore IPF fans, they probably love it either way, and they just love the competition. Like if you're Steve DeNovi, you're like, oh, it was awesome. I could just picture him. But for us, as people that are pretty into powerlifting, but like not super into that, it's kind of like my point is, if we are almost like, yeah, I don't really know, like it didn't seem that crazy or all that exciting. Like if we think that, it's probably not doing a ton for.
Oh, just you get slightly outside of our circle then, and then you're already in the realm of people not caring at all.
Right.
So that is the problem. Is it just again, it's a very small group of people that it.
Yeah. The big splash, it needs to be Jesus, the biggest guy, setting the biggest numbers of all time, and that's
a win for everyone, right?
That's anything short of that is kind of like disappointing,
anticlimactic.
Honestly. Yeah. That's our takeaway on it, right?
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people would feel that same way. Again, that's not to discredit what the other guys did. Clearly some phenomenal lifters, but it's just the most exciting thing is to see the biggest guy set the biggest total.
Right. Okay. Do you have a can?
Oh, I do.
What do you got?
I got myself a fresh Waterloo Blackberry Lemonade.
Ooh, those are good.
What do you got?
I'm
rehydrating.
Because I'm down with the sickness. Right now I'm having a Powerade Zero grape. I've also had today I've had a Diesel red Powerade.
All the calories.
So this is a zero. Mm-hmm. And then I also had a yellow Diesel Gatorade. So I think I've now had 4 of these. And I've also had quite a bit of orange juice. That's mostly the calories I've gotten today.
Yeah, I got to get them any way you can.
That's my weight cut probably just got like I'm scared to get on the scale.
Next
and
week,
actually see
Tanner
what I weigh.
is 225 pounds.
I might be like, I could be into the 230s by the end of this. It's very possible. Yeah, because I was like down to 244 as it was, and I'm probably going to lose at least 5 pounds based on the way that this has been feeling. So it's very possible I could be to like 238.
230s, here we come. It's like we.
Yeah, I don't even actually want to be that light.
It's like we said in our. You might not remember this, Tanner, and people will hear this in about a week or so. But like we said in our training vlog that is to come out, Build Back Better 2024 Massenomics Gym. We're gonna build back into that weight class.
Yes, I'm gonna have some building back to do after this one because I do feel like I'm withering away into nothing now. I'm the lightest I've been in well over a decade. I think since probably 2009.
That's
the
wild.
last time I think even before the sickness, I think 2009 was the last time I weighed. When I got down to 244, the last time I weighed that little was 2009.
Do you feel like you can jump higher than you could? Is jumping come around, or do you not push that much at ball?
Normally I would say I wouldn't even know, but since I play basketball,
Yeah.
there's been like not like me messing around just jumping, but there's been a couple specific plays that I've like jumped up like the other day I did just like a baby hook shot, but the guy was going against someone tall and he had a good shot at blocking me, and I jumped just like way higher than I normally do, and like actively in the moment I thought, holy crap, like that's the highest I've jumped in a long, like it actually felt weird because there was this moment when I was still up in the air, like an actual jump, not just
I
like
haven't come down yet. What am I?
Yeah.
The next play you took off from the free throw line just to see if
no, and like if it wouldn't have even. You wouldn't even notice if you were watching, but just in my head, because I so infrequently try to jump high like that anymore. And then there's been a couple of those when I actually catch myself where I'm like, wow, that felt really weird. Like I was actually up in the air. So I have noticed that probably. Yeah, it probably is a little easier to jump.
So is there any fear of hurting yourself on jumps, or do you feel like, no, I can put it all?
No, that was actually part of it. There is a fear of that because then I'm always like, oh my God, if I'm up that, I'm saying that high, but like if I'm jumping up like that, that is a great opportunity for someone else to get underneath of my feet, and I worry about that.
I mean, could you comfortably, like right now though, can you comfortably jump and touch the rim?
I can touch the rim. I definitely can't dunk it. I used to be able to dunk it. Like in 2009, I could, I was never a 1-footed jumper. I could never 1-foot jump, but I could take a 2-foot drop step or a 3-foot and jump off both feet and dunk the ball with 2 hands. I also could never palm the ball very well.
Oh yeah,
so I could, when most people
because when you can do one hand, you can stretch out a little more.
Right. And I could never do that because A, I can't jump off of 1 foot, and B, I couldn't palm the ball very well. So when I could dunk it, it's when I weighed about 235, 240. It's when I had started to lift, or not started to lift, but started to really like squat and deadlift, but I hadn't got that heavy yet. And then I could do a dunk off of 2 feet, and I can't do that now, but I could touch the rim, but even that feels like really like I'm like that feels really high to me. yes I'm like I normally wouldn't jump that much while we're playing because I am worried about that. Like it just seems like a great opportunity to get hurt. But yes, the being lighter that probably makes more of a difference than anything. I think
it makes sense. Like if you just think, okay, go jump and put this 25-pound weight on a backpack, you'd say, well, it's going to throw me all off. It's too heavy.
Right. Let's see here. So how is what do you rate that, Waterloo?
Ooh, this is probably a 3.5.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Should I do supporting our supporting members, or do we want to talk about one of these other topics first? Maybe do we have time for something?
We got this. Click on this Reddit one. I got to click on Reddit. Okay. There's a link in there. And it's funny. I could not find this at first. I don't know if you noticed this. Someone put this in the Discord the first time. Our chicken bake shirt had appeared on the Reddit Costco thread.
Okay, it's in the Costco thread.
Yeah, it's on the Costco Reddit. But what's funny now is I was having trouble finding this. The moderators of our Costco had removed the post.
Why did they remove it?
I don't know why. They removed it, but the comments are all still there. And, let's see. Moderator announcement. Okay, maybe
that's just a bot.
Yeah, it's saying that maybe they didn't use a descriptive post and title. So a couple things. It was funny because it was just a picture of our shirt. It had no credit where it was from or anything. It was just a picture of the shirt, which would have been nice if we could have directed people the right way to go. But what is hilarious is the number of comments that are just saying, oh, the chicken bake, all that sodium. Oh, you're concerned about protein? Just get the rotisserie chicken. It's loaded with fat and carbs and so that's everything. Isn't it 900 calories? Everything is complaining about. And I think, really? Oh, salty pile of crap. Just the number of comments I see in there and think, do you take everything in life that seriously? Like, you're on a Reddit thread for Costco. You can't take life that seriously because you're in the Reddit for Costco. That is not a place you go if you actually have serious business to do. But man, in there, it was a tough crowd. Almost, I would say of the, 100 and some comments in there, maybe 4 got it and were having fun with it.
Right. It's interesting that they took it down.
No, someone did right. And the twins, so they must get it.
Well, I think Big Luke was in there. He was the one.
I wonder
that
if he's
shared
Iron
it,
got
so.
88. Yeah,
he might be.
And the twins. But yep, everyone's a hater nowadays. You just, unless you're negative and sensationalizing things, I guess people don't approve of it anymore.
Yeah, we've got supporting our supporting members, and. Are we making the line in the sand yet, or what's the? I guess
it's kind of. We could set the line right now. All the wheels are in motion. We just all the pieces have been set. We just need to formally announce the line. So, do we want to announce the line right now?
Yeah. So this episode will come out when?
Actually, you know what? The line has to get set because I'm going to be gone for basically 2 weeks. So the line has to be set. This is coming out on Sunday,
the 19th.
The very last possible day would be Tuesday, and that's probably pushing it. So Monday might be the line. Monday the 19th might be the line in the sand.
So if you're listening to this now, when it's coming out, like the day or two it's coming out, the line in the sand is now. If you're listening to this late, you probably missed the line in the sand. And what we're talking about is becoming a supporting member for our next crew mailing that we have coming out that we're pulling out all the stops for. So if you're not signed up now and you're listening to this on Monday, the line's been drawn, but you could still end up on the right side of history, correct?
You still could. Monday, by the end of the day, you have to have your name in, and even then you might be cutting it a little too close.
Right. So the line has at least been somewhat drawn, right? Like it's
been projected out.
Yeah, we kind of know when
we have the laser level is out and we can see the laser. The line's there with the laser. We just got to draw it in now. So it's
right.
It's getting very official.
So final warning, we have had a lot of people join up to get in before the line in the sand. So thank you to all of our new supporting members. I think you're going to be very happy that you got in before the line in the sand. So if anyone's on the fence, now's your time. Like now is the time to do it. And also want to give a shout out to some supporting members specifically here. Happy birthday to big Nick Rolfe, our resident sales agronomist. Happy birthday, Big Nick. Big Catfish was him and his friend were hosting the Southern USA Natural Strongman World Qualifier.
Ooh.
That's coming up in January 2025, it looks like. So great job, Big Catfish. Then we've got Big Ryan, a recent joined supporting member. He finished first place in the middleweight division at Strongman ATP Classic in Arizona.
Wow, and now we can officially say he's one of the Ryans.
The growing number of Ryans. Few too many, if you ask me. And then Big Jordy got engaged. So his impending funeral is coming up now.
The old ball and chain.
Yeah, congratulations, Big Jordy. And then also Big Swim Hack was this week's guest on Unpaid and Underrated. So make sure to check that out. Thank you to our supporting members. You can become a supporting member before the line in the sand, like we talked about. You also get access to our exclusive Discord community. You can get a free there's a discount code for supporting members.
Technically, it is a free discount code.
Yeah, like once you pay to become a supporting member, you don't have to pay anything else.
We give it to you for free once you give us money.
Once you pay. What else? What else do you get? You can listen along live to the podcast each week. We have some people listening live now.
You get the inside look at
early access
going-ons.
The peek behind the Massenomics meat curtain, if you will. So thank you, supporting members. And then I want to have you all hear a little bit from. We're talking about the Arnold coming up soon, and some of our good friends will be there. And I want you to hear a little message from them.
This is the Strength Company. We've set out to build a better barbell plate on American soil. We ended up here at Wisconsin's legendary Wapaka Foundry. With over 60 years of ironworking experience, the foundry had the knowledge, technology, and processes to build our weights to our exact specifications. The Strength Company plates are slim but rugged, smooth but easy to grip, and electro-coated for durability and to look great in your gym. This is the next generation of American iron. Only available from the Strength Company.
Yeah, the Strength Co. Made in America Iron.
And this episode is also brought to you by Swisslink. Since 1995, Swisslink has been importing military-issue goods to the United States and into the hands of those yearning for quality gear at uncompromised prices. Swisslink.com carries all you can imagine, from British tactical vests to Italian Navy deck shoes and everything in between. Swisslink is also home to the authentic Wavian fuel cans. They're from the same factory that has been making the so-called jerry cans for the NATO forces since the 1940s. Made from 0.9 millimeter of cold-rolled steel, Wavians are the highest quality gas cans on the market. Big Mo has since decided that a high-quality water can was needed as well, so Swisslink developed a stainless steel water can to match. It fits all your Wavian jerry can holders and is made from food-grade 304 stainless steel, so you can trust it to carry your drinking water. This is another addition to Swisslink's exceptional collection and dedication to quality customer service. Enjoy a 15% discount on your next purchase at Swisslink.com by entering code MASS at checkout. That's MASS to save 15% at Swisslink.com. Thank you, Swisslink.
Well, thanks, Swisslink. Is our guest here yet, or do we need to talk about one more topic?
Our
first?
guest is not here yet, so we could sneak in a little more if we wanted.
I would like to mention some.
Yeah, I was gonna say all the topics I have are not quick topics.
Yeah,
so.
Maybe there's one I'd like to mention. I so much would like to mention it that maybe it's okay to mention before and after. The copycats that we've seen lately,
dude. It's an epidemic right now.
If you have small children listening, I would probably when we talk about this, it's very possible I would use foul language because. So maybe shut this off if you have children present, but I want to specifically call out this Tango Charlie company that did a copy of our lift, a classic lift design, like probably our most classic Massenomics design of all time. And they communicated with us at first and then have since ghosted it, and all they've been doing is blocking everyone that deleting comments and blocking and
turning comments off.
Yeah, and fuck those guys. Like, don't do any business to Tango. Like, I wouldn't
Tango
normally
they're
say
the worst. Not only did they get caught, okay, maybe we'll give them the biggest benefit of the doubt and say they accidentally arrived at the exact same T-shirt that we did and we've been known for forever, and somehow they've never known it. Maybe. There's a lot of maybes there. But you would think then at the end you'd be like, oh, fuck, man. Okay, yep, sorry. Totally didn't realize that. I guess we're sort of in the same space, like... Yeah, let's talk this through. We'll take the shirts down. Yep. We don't want to stomp on your whole thing. And no, it's been radio silence, block, silence, turn off comment. It's doing everything they can, which makes you think they know what they're doing. They're just trying to fuck over other businesses. And
they for sure are.
Which is
so make sure to never do business. My recommendation would be never do any business with Tango Charlie.
No, they're the worst. And then it's also funny. We've had some people looking in. It looks like they have a pretty long history of just ripping off other companies in our space.
Yeah,
they've done. Yeah. It doesn't look like they really come up with original ideas.
Have a lot of paid followers on Instagram.
Well, look at their engagement. It's shit for what their account size is.
Yeah, and I don't like they initially responded to us saying like what I believe is lying, saying, "Oh, we didn't know you've ever had anything like this." And I don't believe that. And then, like, okay, even if that's true, like you said, then after you do know that we've had something like this for like a decade, then what would be the next move? And their next move was just like, nope, we don't give a shit.
Just to double down and then to block and make things even worse. Okay, so we haven't talked about this for a couple days now, so you haven't heard anything else from them?
No, I get the feeling they are not going to say anything else about it. And from my point of view, it's not like a legal issue or anything like that.
It's just a don't be a piece of shit issue.
Right. Exactly. So
But
it's just
that seems to be the road they wanted to take.
Yep. Being pieces of shit.
Yeah, it's really annoying that there's just people like that think they're. But everyone's just like scheming. No one comes up with ideas on their own anymore. Everyone's ripping everyone off. And this just leads into another one. Did you see? Because there's several levels of getting copied. We've been copied many times by people, and we've been the first to say that. Yeah, we do a lot of parody stuff. People can do parody stuff too, but just don't do the exact same parody we did. Like we already did that. Come up with a different one.
Right.
But there's levels to this stuff. So you have companies like this that supposedly have real people at them. It looks like they're taking photos and trying to do something. But then you also have these, I'm assuming, AI dropship companies that are just scraping the web for stuff. And did you see in the copies one, those 3 links I put in there?
Was it was one of them the ouch, everything hurts?
No, well, that was another one we got ripped off on. But click on that copies one. There's 3 links in there. Yeah. What's amazing here is somehow something on the internet was scraping things and found the chicken bake shirt. Right. And it is putting it straight up has the chicken bake shirt with our logo and name underneath it.
Massenomics on it.
It just, so there's 3 different websites right here that sell the chicken bake 52 grams of protein shirt and also have the Massenomics name underneath them too.
And we actually do have intellectual property on the Massenomics, so you can't.
Well, I mean, they have our actual logo on it. Like you can't print our logo on shit. But these companies are all just like made up out. They're not even real things. If you read the description, it's just like it's just totally trying to just hit SEO traffic. It's just trying to scrape and do whatever it can. And somehow this latched onto our t-shirt. So there's so many things. So here's 3 websites right here that took the chicken bake shirt. Tango Charlie steals the lift shirt. We saw another company last week steal the out shirt. And the week before that, we saw another company steal the lift banner. We had 6 companies in the past 10 days steal our designs. Is that insane or what? It's like getting really fucking annoying because everyone is ripping our shit.
Yes. It is really annoying. And like those fake ones, like the chicken bake one, I'm like, well, there's probably nobody buying that.
I don't think there is. Like Google, I don't even think Google really recommends those sites because they look so scammy. Right. But these ones where you have this actual company where they're saying they're veteran owned and trying to do all this positive stuff, but then at the same time ripping us off. And then at the same time when they're getting called out, doing everything they can to cover their butts to not look like bad guys because they actually are bad guys. Those are shitty people. They suck.
Yeah, I love them leaning on the veteran owned. And then in the DMs, they left it on red when I said, hey, I'm also a veteran in this, veteran owned company. And I think what you're doing sucks. And then they look at that and then don't respond.
Yeah, all of a sudden being a veteran doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
What are we, chopped liver?
I don't know. I guess we're only half veteran owned. Maybe that's our problem.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we would respect
Maybe that's our problem is we don't lead with that. We need our marketing to be more focused, saying that we're veteran owned. That's the problem. Right.
That's definitely the problem. So do not ever do any business with Tango Charlie.
Yeah, and if you want to, you can tell them that they suck too. We don't have a problem with that. They probably need someone to set them straight.
Yeah,
bring a little honor and honesty into their life.
Right, absolutely.
Our guest has arrived, Tanner.
Okay. Should we kick everyone off? And then
I'm booting them as we speak.
And I forgot, supporting member, I forgot to mention that Big Toby also competed at that ATP Classic and he was the Masters winner, and he had a 620-pound deadlift PR.
That's one for the resume.
Yeah, and he must have recruited Big Ryan there to become a supporting member. So that's like a triple win.
It's a win-win. Win-win-win-win.
Yeah, everyone wins. All right, we're excited. Big Marshall Johnson, the Freak Show, is joining us for this one, all the way from Fargo, North Dakota. And we always like to talk about what we're drinking, and I just saw you had a bottle of something there. So what is that? What are you drinking there for the podcast?
Ginger ale.
Oh.
I'm 40, so that's ginger ale.
That's a classy choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it settles the stomach.
What brand?
Schweppes.
Okay. Is ginger ale a common go-to for you?
Yeah. I like pop too much, so usually I like Mountain Dew too much, so I've cut back a lot on that, and usually something like a ginger ale is just enough to fight that urge, that carbonation,
Mm-hmm.
What about like a LaCroix or a sparkling water? Have you ever gotten into those at all?
Wasn't a fan. Wasn't a fan. No.
Not your cup of tea.
It's
so
a
to
long
say.
road to get used to having no flavor and somehow trying
Especially
to
when
like
you go from Mountain Dew to
Yeah. Yeah.
like two ends of the spectrum. So we'll talk about your lifting stuff, you know, your lifting numbers and stuff over the years. But what I wanted to start with is, you probably wouldn't remember this, but in 2016 in Chamberlain, that's when I would have first saw you for the first time. You did an APF powerlifting meet there in Chamberlain in February of 2016, and I was doing that meet also. And I remember seeing you for the first time and being like, oh my God, this is like, you know, we had maybe been powerlifting for a year or two at the time. And I just thinking like, wow, this is one of those like really big, scary powerlifter guys that I've seen on the internet before, you know, and like, not that you're actually scary, but at the time, like I just was like, this is like one of those guys that I've seen before in real life.
Yeah, I like those meets down there in South Dakota. They're usually run pretty well. It's close enough to home, so it's driving distance. I got a lot of kind of friends in that area, and I think either JR Bulgery ran it or John Lentz ran it.
Yeah.
Either way, they always put on a good meet. Friends with JR, good friends with John Lentz and his family. They all participate heavily in Relentless. I think that's where I met the Lentzes and Jared Bolger, to be honest, was through Relentless. But yeah, good meets, ran good people.
So explain Relentless, what that is for anyone listening that maybe doesn't know, because I know you've been like, is that something that you've run, or are you just very involved in it? I know you're involved with it, but
Just very involved with it.
Okay.
A very good friend of mine, Scott Nutter and Mike Hamilton, they wanted to find a way to raise money for their pastor who had cancer. And Scott Nutter had always run powerlifting meets, and he thought it would be a cool idea to have a powerlifting meet, a sanctioned powerlifting meet that was also a fundraiser. So you had your entry fee was waived in lieu of you had to raise X amount of dollars. Like I don't remember the first year when they raised the money for the pastor, what the minimum was, but it was, you just had to raise a minimum amount of money, and that was your entry fee. And then when it was all, you know, said and done, it was a full sanctioned powerlifting meet. And at the end, you know, we get this grant total, and I think it was like 20 grand that we all raised for their local pastor. And Scott said that he knew he was onto something, and he tried to figure out a way, like, how can we do this every year, and not just for this person, but how can we do this every year? And Scott's very involved with the church and religion and charities and stuff like that. And he was looking for a charity that we could, so to speak, use this for every year. And he happened across a charity called Hope Kids, which is out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. And the second year of Relentless, and then every year, I believe we're at year 10. But every year since the second year has been for Relentless. For Hope Kids. Hope Kids is a nonprofit organization based out of the cities, and they provide calendar events for the families of kids who have either a life-threatening or life-altering condition, whether it be they have cancer, muscular dystrophy, or some sort of physical, not deformity, but some sort of physical ailment to where it has a massive effect on their daily lives, to where they might not be able to live without the assistance of someone their whole life. Basically, it provides calendar events for these families who spend a lot of their time completely focusing on their child's problem, because it's always in their face. They look at their calendar, it's Monday, it's blood draw, Tuesday, it's chemo, you know, Thursday, it's another test. Like their whole calendar revolves around what their child is facing. And what Hope Kids does, it provides these calendar events, free events, to where they'll get a box for, you know, a pro sports game, or they'll rent out a movie theater for the day, or they'll have like an outdoor carnival. They just provide calendar events for these families to go and just kind of get away from it for, you know, a couple hours, whatever that may be. And what was really cool is Scott and Mike were able to meld the two together so well. They wanted the kids to be a huge part of it. So before we had their first year, which was the second year of Relentless, they had something called the Hope Kids Kickoff, which was about 3 months before the meet actually took place. And it was a place for all the families and the children to come in, and we spent like a whole day like doing kind of like a feat of strength thing. There was a couple people doing exhibition lifts in powerlifting. There was people doing exhibition lifts in strongman, like old time circus strongman stuff, like tearing cards, blowing up water, blowing up the water bags and stuff like that. And the kids were all like heavily involved with it, and that went amazing. And when the meet came along, if you've ever seen pictures of Relentless, you'll see that we have this big stage where it's a full sanctioned powerlifting meet, and the whole stage is just filled with kids. Like there's probably 50 to 100 kids on stage the whole time, and every time the lifter completes a lift, they go up and give the kids high fives, and people develop really strong bonds with these families. And one of the cool things about being in Relentless is you can just be someone who raises funds and then competes, but you can also go a step further and be a part of something called Team Hope, which is where you actually get paired up with a family, and it is your goal to start a relationship with that family more than just seeing them on meet day. So on top of raising the extra money, you also start a relationship with the family. So that just made all the ties so much stronger and made the meet mean so much more.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. So that's still that's still an annual event then each year.
Yeah. And unfortunately, because of the thing that shall not be named in 2020,
Yeah.
that of course you can't have a building full of very sick kids
Right.
confined in a space. So I believe 2020 we didn't have anything, and 2021 I think we had it, but it was very small turnout, and we're just now starting to kind of get the ball rolling. Like last year was a really good turnout once again, and we're kind of starting to get that momentum back. But we got to, and I don't mean like myself, but like we as in everybody involved with Relentless, believe the most amount we raised in a year was, I want to say $200,000. Just that's like 3 to 4 months of fundraising. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just people had all these creative ways to raise funds. There's people that had connections with bigger businesses, or people who worked for corporations. They just people would put on fundraising events, and people were able to raise a crazy amount of money. Like there was single people who were raising, like 20 grand, just them. And I want to say because of Relentless specifically, Hope Kids was able to open 4 to 5 different states just because of Relentless. So now Hope Kids is, I believe, in at least 5 different states now.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, and speaking of states, you're just a Dakota man, just up the road from us in Fargo. So are you a Fargo native? I mean, did you grow up there, or did you wind up there at some point in time?
I was actually born in Minot, North Dakota, and then I lived in Garrison, North Dakota until I was in the 6th grade, and then moved to Iowa. And I lived in Iowa until I graduated. I graduated high school in Iowa, but even though I was in the 6th grade, I still remembered North Dakota, and I liked it a lot. And I went to NDSU for a semester, uh, and it didn't go well. I went to NDSU, failed out for all the reasons you could imagine a freshman fails out for their first year. Went back home, thought I'd try it again. Did not learn my lesson. I failed again for my second semester, and then I just stayed. And I've been in Fargo since 2002. So I've been in Fargo for a long time. I love it here. It Anything you could need that a big city presents, and then it still has a small town feel at the same time.
Yeah. And you talked about you must have just recently turned 40 not too long ago. You're officially masters now, right?
I can be a master's, yes, but I won't. I never will. No. That's such a taboo thing with us. I came up with a lot of old school lifters, and you didn't do masters. You lifted open. Even if you were 75 years old, you lifted open. And that's just kind of stuck with me and the people that train at my gym, or the people like coach and train. It's always just like, you lift in the open. And whether that's necessary or not, I feel like it keeps a sense of, what are you doing this for? Are you doing this to get a participation award because you did a submasters or this whatever that had 7 asterisks behind it, so you can tell everybody you're a state champion? Or are you going there for the purpose of getting better, which is why you should be going to a meet? You should be going to the meet to getting better. And that's just kind of something that stuck with me since I started powerlifting, and it's kind of a running joke that nobody in my gym, nobody I train, like, you lift in the open.
Yeah. So although you may technically be able to be a masters, you're not gonna go into that without a fight.
No. And it was like funny, like Louis Simmons never competed in any of the masters. He always competed in open. But had he competed in masters, he would be an umpteen time all-time world record holder. But he never was, because he's always competed in the open. You know what I mean?
Right. So we know in terms of powerlifting, then you're not going to be considered a masters. But I did see an interesting post you had where like you had a stylistic change, at least in one post, where you were embracing the Midwestern dad, 40-year-old dad look, where you're wearing jean shorts and a polo and clicking the tongs at the grill.
Yeah. My wife made that video. She thought she was pretty funny. It started like I was just joking on myself. It was my 40th birthday party, so I was just a joke on myself, trying to dress like what I remember my dad dressing like when he was 40. And then she actually, I didn't know it. She kept taking small videos of me, and she kept telling me to do this stuff, and I didn't know what the hell she was asking me to do it for. And then all of a sudden, the next day, she's got this video. I'm like, good job. You got me.
Yeah. Do you feel like because if someone's watching this on YouTube, they looking at you and you look like a normal dude on here, but has your look actually changed a little bit? Because what I remember is, a colored, maybe I'm exaggerating this in my head, but like a colored mohawk with a bull nose ring, and like your name of the Freakshow, like it, you had a very like a wild look to you, and you don't really necessarily have that look today as we're talking here.
Yeah, there's there's a lot more to it. I've been, battling a back injury since December of 2019, and I have not been able to compete since November of 2020, just because of this ongoing back injury. And I haven't, it might sound dumb, but like that was like the nose ring and the mohawk, like that was like my armor. And I haven't been that person since I got hurt. So until I'm strong enough again, until I'm back to where I was, it's not going to come back. As soon as I'm back to what I was and capable of doing the things I was used to be doing, then the armor comes back on. But until then, I can't. It's just, I can't wear it. You know what I mean? It kind of might sound dumb, but that's just, how I think of it. You know what I mean?
Kind of makes sense to me. I can see that for
it's
sure.
a whole other persona. Yeah, it's like a thing to embrace. I get it.
Yeah. And talking about your numbers that you've put up. So we looked, Tommy looked, what was the number of meets and the number of years that
did you have, was it like 32 meets in 10 years, something like that?
My first competition was in 2007.
Okay. And I don't think that was
Open
even on there
Powerlifting
yet,
has you back to 2010, I think.
Right.
Yep. I started competing in NASA meets in Minot. Those were the first meets I went to. That was NASA was like it was like a USAPL. It was like a drug tested federation. I
Okay.
don't think it was in many states. I think it was kind of a Midwest thing.
See, I've never even
Um,
heard of that.
I remember
yeah.
hearing of it, but yeah, it's not a common thing.
Yep. So my first probably 3 or 4 meets were in NASA, and then I did a few meets in the USAPL, and it didn't take me very long to realize that's not where I wanted to be. Just rules for the sake. I'll never understand rules for the sake of rules. It's cool. It's cool to be a part of a federation that's that strict. I guess if you're someone who thinks someday that powerlifting is going to be in the Olympics, which it's not, but you can you can have all the legitimacy, amazing lifts, quality people without so much of the stupid rules. Like there's 2 people in my gym that are diehard USAPLers, and just going to their meets, it's awful. It's just quiet. It's people get upset if you cheer. And you can't. Um, I remember Micah couldn't use his belt because there was a tear in it. Like it was unfit to use because a piece of the leather had a tear in it, and he had to find a different belt. Just stupid shit like that. I'm like, what does that
Right.
have to do with anything?
Right. Where
So yeah,
it's not affecting the lifts on the platform at all. Yeah.
yeah, not even a little bit.
Right.
Yeah. I guess I never paid attention to how many meets I've done. I just know I've been competing since 2007, and then for the longest time it was probably 3 meets a year for a little
Yeah.
while,
Yeah,
and
and
then
that's what we looked at. Like about 3 months, 3 meets a year, which over the course of 10 years, that is a lot of competing. Very few people
yeah,
you see competing with that frequency.
yeah, and then you kind of realize once your numbers get bigger that it's not that advantageous to be doing 3 months a year. Two meets a year is pretty much golden because that gives you some downtime. It gives you a little bit of an off season to fix some weaknesses, and then that gives you some time to really ramp up for the meet. All while you have to just accept the fact that shit's going to happen, injuries are going to happen. So you're building in kind of a cushion. And if you don't need it, you don't need it. It's money. But if you do need it, you're happy it's there.
Right. And correct me if I'm wrong on this, but your best total of all time was like 27:45.
27:45. That is last I checked, that's 7th all time in my weight class.
Yep, that's what we saw too.
Regardless of federation, 7th all time in my weight class.
And number 14 all time, regardless of any weight class. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that used to be 11 or 12 at one time, but the past couple of years it's kind of been knocked down. But still, yeah, very very happy with those. Super happy with that. And the part that's frustrating, that's hard to let it go, is I think I was 30 pounds away from top 5. 30 to 50 pounds away from top 5 all time in my weight class. So that's just like, that's 10 pounds, per lift. I'm so close to being top 5 all time and so close to 2,800 that there's a lot of, I can't leave that unfinished.
Right.
So, I mean, do you see yourself making a run at things again here?
That's my plan. I started a 5-year plan last year, and the first year of that 5-year plan was to not powerlift, and that was honestly probably one of the hardest years of my life, because I am a powerlifter.
And when you say not powerlifting, is that not competition or actually not doing the movements?
Not doing the movements.
Okay.
Like I was trying for so many years to figure out a way to heal my back, and I would make some progress and then I would hurt it worse. Make some progress and then hurt it worse. It was like 2 steps back and 7 steps back, 2 steps forward and 7 steps back. And it was just I felt like a prisoner in my own body. I literally lost 10 years. I literally lost 10 months of my life to it, because there was a 10-month span to where almost any way I moved, I triggered my injury. My back was so, I had re-aggravated it and re-hurt it so many times that my back was so sensitive and so unstable. Sitting, adjusting your leg when you're sitting, it would flare up, standing from sitting, rolling in bed, like putting your leg over your knee in bed, like reaching over to like any movement would trigger it, because like my PT described it, when you have chronic injury, your body develops a lot more nerve endings in that area to put up more flares, because it's like we don't want to be hurt anymore. So anything that even resembles the movement, it's like having a smoke alarm that goes off when you turn on the toaster. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like it's like you put toast in the toaster and it's like 4 alarm fire. There's no, like, it treats it as if it's a full-blown emergency. And for about 10 months of my life, like, I was scared to move, because anything, and it was an extremely depressing extremely depressing time in my life, because not only did I lose my identity, because for the last 14 years or however long it's been, like, I've been a power lifter. That's been my identity. Everything else has been, until I met my wife, everything else was backseat. And then since then, it was my wife and powerlifting. And then it was my wife and my daughter. But like, everything else took a backseat. My life revolved around powerlifting. And to have that taken away was, it was extremely frustrating. So, you get to a point where you're just fucking sick of it, and it's something has to change. And I remember, my PT had said something along the lines of, it takes 9 to 12 months for a herniated disc to heal itself. And that might be, I might be inaccurate or wrong. Somebody knows more than I do might be like, you're full of shit. But I specifically remember him saying like 9 to 10 months is when, a herniated disc will heal. So then I was like, if I sacrifice a year right now, that still gives me time at the back end, because there's plenty of powerlifters who hit their peak in their mid 40s. They're 43, 44, 45, 46. There's a powerlifter in Fargo right now, Jason Ellert. He's in his mid 40s and he's the strongest he's ever been. Like, he's just getting better. And stuff like that kind of gives me hope. So I had to sacrifice a year, and I tried to do some benching off and on, but I had just found in that year, when I took a year off of powerlifting, I tried to do some benching and stuff like that off and on, but it always caused more problems than anything else. And I had to relearn how to squat. I had to relearn how to deadlift. I had to relearn how to brace, and all of that was stuff, like without a bar, doing single leg stuff. Like, I did not do the powerlifting movements, aside from sometimes trying to do bench, for a year. All that time was spent on solidifying my core, doing single leg stuff to get rid of imbalances, working on my cardio, my conditioning. I lost 52 pounds in that time, because I saw no reason to be, there was no reason to be 308 pounds if I wasn't
Right.
powerlifting.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
and that kind of gave me a goal to get my mind off things, to where I had something to work for in that year. And now that year is up, that year was up in, January 1st. So now this year I started basically from the ground up. Like, I'm building my raw squat, bench, and deadlift basically from scratch. It's like tonight I deadlifted 185. And my loose goals is to be able to squat and deadlift 500 pounds at the end of this year, raw. And then that'll give me 3 more years throughout this 5-year plan. It's just this gradual build to it at the 5th year, being able to take it run at my old numbers.
Yeah.
Is it hard for you to go in and deadlift 185? Like, is it hard for you to stick to the plan, like it being that that long of a progression, or are you able to look at the plan and say, no, I get that that's what I need to do now?
Where I'm at with things now, it's not. Before it was extremely difficult, but you recognize that you're going through a pattern. You're going through a pattern. It's like, it's insanity doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
Mhm.
And that's what I was doing. And I was never addressing the problem. I was just casting it long enough until something happened. So I was never fixing it. I was just masking it. And now I understand that there's a process and this has to go slow. And some days it is extremely frustrating to only squat 185. Like, I think last week I squatted 205, and I don't remember in my life 205 ever being so heavy. Like, I did like four triples with 205, and I don't remember in my life it ever being that heavy. And actually, I thought that 500 and 500 was modest, and I didn't think I would be able to last. Now I'm just like, is that long enough? Right? Am I
Right.
going to be able to get back to that?
Right.
So
Yeah, and
so
for
yeah.
reference, I've seen you put 1,100 pounds on your back before, just so people understand like the difference that we're talking here.
Yeah, 1107 is my best in competition. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, that's crazy. That seems like seems like it makes a lot of sense to me from the outside looking in, though.
It
like
does.
the path that
And
you
also
take.
the fact that, I mean, it's crazy impressive that you've managed to step back and put together a 5-year plan too, because a 5-year plan takes an enormous amount of discipline and self-control. One, to even admit that something could possibly take that long. And then to, like you said, set these roadblock, these marks out a year out. Like, nope, 500 is the mark a year from now, when, even if you're feeling great, you maybe push it, but no, having that self-control is really impressive.
Yeah. This is all I've ever known. This is all I've ever done. And um it's 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 too to say it's my legacy is the wrong. It's not that epic, but it's like that. This is my life. Like, I've wasted, not waste. Well, you can make the argument. My life has been powerlifting. Like, I don't have a career. I've worked the same job for 17 years only because it didn't get in the way of powerlifting. It paid the
Right.
bills. If I needed time off to go to a meet, I got time off.
Right.
My hours never changed, so it pays the bills, but I don't have a career. My eggs are in the powerlifting basket, and I understand that if I'm going to do the things that I want to do, the things I know I can do, I know it will take that long, because I've tried pushing the envelope for too many years and just getting hurt worse every time.
Right.
So
And the career thing, it's actually interesting. We were just last week talking with Shane Haller on the podcast, and him having similar comments, honestly, where it's just like, my job might not sound that cool, but it allows me to do the stuff that I actually am passionate about doing. And I think there's something to that of just like, I don't know if it's discipline or whatever the word is, but just like understanding that and being like, no, I get it. I get that this is just what I do because it allows me to do what I actually want to do. It like allows my passion to be a thing that I can go after.
it's a means to an end, and I understand that. And I have not wanted anything in my life but this. Like, I never knew what I wanted to be when I was going to grow up. Like, I had no clue, and I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. Which is sad hearing a 40-year-old say that, but this is what I've dedicated my life to. And I I've got tunnel vision. Like, nothing gets in the way of this. And if it does, it's gone. You know what I mean? And I was extremely, extremely fortunate to meet my wife, Kathy, who 100% gets it. She gets it 100%. I've never had, but you could also make the argument, if I did have if I did have issues with it, wouldn't be together. But she gets it, and her family gets it, and it's always hard for me to comprehend with people I've trained with in the past, or people at the gym who say they want something. Um, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to total this, I want to be a great power lifter. But when it comes time to train, they'll be like, my family's going to be in town this weekend. I can't train. And I'll be like, my family knows my training days, but like my in-laws know that if they come into town on Friday, they're not going to see me till 9 o'clock at night. And if they come into town on Saturday, they know that they're not going to see me until after, 1 in the afternoon or whatever. Like everybody in my family knows that my life revolves around this. And I've been super fortunate to be blessed with those people around me. So
Yeah, that's cool. Do you also coach powerlifting, I think, and you coach lifters like you talked about, and one of them of interest for us is we put on our Lift Hard Live Easy Classic powerlifting meet last year, and we're doing it again here in 2024, and Big Dave Stensland runs that meet for us, and I think you're coaching him now, right?
yeah, I just started with Dave. I'm very excited for that opportunity. I I always love the opportunity to take on somebody who has done it themselves, their whole time, have not had a coach. They've done it their own way for so long, and they kind of realize that it's time to change. And when you give them something that they've never done before, um, not only do you kind of open their eyes to like there's other things you could be doing, but there's so much low-hanging fruit that you can it just it's fun to make these changes for them. And to me, these things are obvious. But those lifters, or even me, like myself, before I got a coach myself, you just get set in your ways and you do things not necessarily because they help, but you just do them because that's what you've always done.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that I think are extremely important, non-negotiable as far as training goes. And a lot of people don't even have them in their training to begin with. And I think that they're like, you need to have these things in there or you're not going to get better. So I like getting somebody who, because just the changes you can make right away and then long term. And it's always kind of curious to see too, like, do they really want this? Like, why are you actually training? Because if we go for a while and you decide it's not for you and you go back to doing your old shit, then you're not really doing it to get better. You're just doing it because you like doing your shit. But if you are someone who
Right.
is actually doing this and you want to get better, you will do the things necessary to get better. It just kind of proves what you're in it for. And that's not either way, that there's nothing wrong with that. But if you say that you are someone who wants to get better, then follow through actions, not words.
So is Dave listening to you so far? Or is he going off script?
As far as I know,
Yeah.
we're in week 2,
Yeah.
and I hit him right away with um
He told me
something
there
I
was some
always
non-barbell lifting that he was having to get used to or something like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I don't always start out people that way, but I know Dave is kind of dinged up, his shoulders kind of dinged up,
Yep.
he just looks like he has back pain all the time, and he looks like your stereotypical bound up power lifter, just like bad mobility, like shit hurts all the time, and he needed a break. And I don't do this with everybody when we start, but Dave needed a break. So it's like, we're doing a 6-week hypertrophy phase, no bar on your back, no bar in your hand. You need to let all that shit calm down and add in a lot more hypertrophy, a lot more muscle. Give your body a chance to just calm the fuck down. And you can still train really hard hypertrophy and still get a lot of enjoyment. If you like going to the gym and busting your ass, you can still do that without the wear and tear. And being as Dave is a raw lifter, I've learned over the past year or so that raw lifters need more muscle. Raw lifters need muscle, because more muscle means more strength. And if you lift equipped, the gear is what you are using for rebound and hold and all of that stuff. When you're a raw lifter, your body is what is used for compression and spring and all that stuff. So raw lifters need more muscle. And also, if you are a muscle bound, hard-bodied person, you don't do as well in gear, because if you try to fit into a tight squat suit and you are rock solid, it just doesn't work. Usually you need a little bit of squish to give into a squat, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
uh, Dave's really going to benefit, I believe, from this, because he wasn't doing a lot of cardio and conditioning. And cardio and conditioning is one thing. It's no negotiating with me. There's going to be cardio and conditioning and core work. Core work, there's no negotiating. There's going to be core work every single day, because I didn't train core. I just didn't train my core probably until I got hurt, probably the first 14 years. Like, we just didn't do it. I trained my back ridiculously hard. Like, to me, a strong back meant you're a strong power lifter. So my back was bulletproof until it wasn't. You know what I mean? Like, uh, I just trained my lower back all the time. Maybe I might do some sit-ups or some standing cable crunches and stuff like that, were like kind of the typical power lifter go-tos for core and stuff like that. But I never did any of the McGill stuff. I never did like planks or anything that resembled knee raises or leg raises, or I I never worked on core, and I got hurt pretty bad because of that. So because I went through all those years and I'm still going through stuff with back issues, that is something that there's just no negotiating. You have to have core work in there. Louis Simmons has a quote that I have up on my page. It says, "Lifters with a strong back and a weak core inevitably hurt their back." Because your back is not what's supposed to be stabilizing. Your core is what's supposed to be stabilizing. Your back is supposed to be rigid. Your core is what is supposed to be doing the stabilizing work. Your back is there for structure. It's structure. It's not meant to be bearing and handling loads. You know what I mean? It's supposed to be locked down. Your core is supposed to be doing all that stuff. You know what I mean? And
Right.
to me, it's so important.
Flipping the page a little bit, are you kind of an 80s action movie guy at all?
100%. I love
Okay.
80s action movies. I love VHSs. Like, I got a.
So you
and
have
the
a
one
VHS collection.
I do, and my room. Half the time when I'm writing programs, I don't even watch it. I'll just have my TV going. I have probably 30 VHSs in here, and there's always something playing in the background, whether it's Aliens or Predator or
Is that
Commando or.
is that a
Um,
tube style TV behind you? Like a curve,
yes,
yeah.
yeah, it's
Oh,
a
yeah.
TV VCR combo.
Oh man.
Nice.
Yeah, we always had one of those growing up. Like, that was always in one
Yeah.
of the bedrooms, and you'd be playing video
That's
games on there with your friends.
Yeah, you don't want that to break. That's like not replaceable at this point in time.
Yeah, or you never want to move it because those things weigh like freaking 50 pounds.
Uh,
I'm always trying to find. You remember those top loading VCRs where it popped up and
Oh,
they
yeah.
put it in?
Yeah.
I want one of those. I'm always on the lookout for those.
I actually was like converting some home videos this year to digital, and like I had a really hard time finding a VCR, and like the ones I could find were expensive. So it's
Yeah.
kind of crazy.
I think everything looks. I think it looks better. I think the framing and like the grittiness and like the color and the picture. Like, I just think it looks better in the 80s. It just looks better.
Okay, so we at being South Dakota guys, we play this Mount Rushmore game with people that we have on here. So we want to know, what's your Mount Rushmore, your four on the Mount Rushmore of Stallone movies. Your Mount Rushmore of Stallone movies.
Okay. Cobra. Cobra is in there. Obviously Rocky.
Rocky 1.
Ooh, I'm
Okay.
a Rocky 4 guy.
Okay, that's the Russian. That's the Russian.
Yeah,
That's
Rocky.
yeah.
I'm a Rocky 3 and 4 guy.
Okay.
So it's Rocky, Cobra, Tango and Cash, and probably Demolition Man.
Okay.
somewhere in
So
there. Yeah.
Over the Top didn't make it then.
Oh, how did I miss that?
Yeah.
That's I knew I was missing one because I watched Over the Top before. That's one of my I have probably like I have like 5 to 6 movies that I always watch, and Over the Top is one of them. Over the Top, Rocky 4, those are two that I always watch before I train. And my daughter, it's awesome that my daughter loves my daughter loves 80s movies. She loves Over the Top.
Yeah.
She always asks if we can watch it before we go train, stuff like that.
And the other
I can't believe I was sitting here trying to think of obscure Stallone movies that you might not have seen, and I just left out like
yeah.
the most obvious one.
Well, and the other obvious snub there I think would be Rambo, right? Like that would be
Well,
I don't
yeah,
I'm not
and
saying
Rambo-
Rambo does even deserves to be on the list, but I was just thinking of other Stallone ones.
yeah. Wasn't a huge like they were good. Rambo was good, but it wasn't. You
Yeah.
can take it or leave it.
It's not on the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay. We're headed to the Arnold in a few weeks. We've been there
Me
every
too.
year. Oh, are you going?
Yep. My one of my clients is competing there. Megan. But she trains at our gym too. But yeah, Megan will be competing there.
Is she doing
Okay,
the
well-
XPC then? Is that
Yes.
yeah? Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, that's in the main convention hall, I think, again this year, right? Like it was last year. So if you get a chance, stop by our booth, and we'd love to say hi to you. And the thing I was going to ask about, I think you competed in the animal cage at least one year, didn't you?
Yeah. I squatted in the animal cage. The animal cage is one of those things where from a really young age, like as a really young training age, like when I started powerlifting, I come from a bodybuilding background. Like I did bodybuilding beforehand, and animal was always the animal ads they're so awesome. Like my room was full of them. Every time a new animal ad came out, I would tear it out and hang it up in my room. Um, Animal it was just gritty and hardcore, and it was, in my opinion, it was kind of back before everything was kind of mainstream, and now everything's hardcore now and gritty. But kind of back then, it was like they were kind of like the pioneers of that, and it resonated so much with me. Like I would do this, I would go train in dirty boots and sweatpants that looked like you took them out of a trash can, like trying to look homeless. And like I remember doing that. And the very first time I saw like the animal cage and ads and stuff like that, like I immediately knew that someday I wanted to lift in the animal cage. And lifting in the animal cage and being sponsored by Elite FTS were my two main goals, and I accomplished both of those in a pretty fair amount of time. But I distinctly remember there was two people that I really looked up to in the area that I was training with, and one of them had told me, you're never going to be in the animal cage, and the other one was, you're never going to be on Elite FTS. And that was so much fuel. Like I wanted every day, every rep in the gym was spent trying to prove them wrong. And it was so amazing to just get the opportunity to be it was surreal to be in the animal cage. I was sponsored by Animal at the time, so I didn't just lift in the animal cage. I was actually sponsored by Animal for probably a year. I was on there for a 1 year contract with them, and they had powerlifters, but they hadn't really broke out into the powerlifting scene yet. Like, there was that time for probably 3 or 4 years where they were all about powerlifting, like
Right.
the Lilla Bridges, Brandon Lilly, like
Dan
there
Green,
was,
yeah.
yeah. I kind of got on before all of that, and you can tell because I was a gear lifter. Like all of those guys that were all raw lifters. So I was probably the last one that I can remember that was still lifting in gear in the cage. And I squatted 1,000 pounds in the cage, and it was so at the time it was the most amount of weight lifted. It was the most amount of weight lifted in the cage at the time. It's since been surpassed by people who've probably done it fucking raw. but
But we're talking like 2013 here about, wasn't it? Right in there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was it was back in the times where equipped lifting was king and squatting 1,000 pounds was a very
Yeah.
but it was a feat, you know what I mean? Like not a whole lot of people were doing it. And just being in that cage, like when you just look 360 around, there just people everywhere. Like you're right in the middle of the,
Yeah.
you know, you've seen it, you know, you're right
Yeah.
in the middle of the expo. You just got hundreds of people. Like that was some of the coolest shit that I've been a part of. And um yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, that's cool. The look you were talking about, we have this classic poster in Massenomics Gym. It's Evan Centopani, who we've had on the podcast and we've talked about this poster before. It's him, and then it's like
Is it
McGrath.
Yeah, is it Frank? Is that his name?
Those Fame and Frank McGrath were two of the
Yeah.
staples, yeah.
Yep.
And then there's a third guy, and the outfits that those guys are wearing are just insane. It's awesome, but it's just like what you're talking about. It's like these sweatpants had to have been from like 1960.
And I think Evan told us the story on that one. I think he said whoever the photographer was like, just grab with the oldest work boots you got. And I think he said the guy like went and found like some old ripped up flannels and things for him. And he said, put these on. You guys are going to wear these. And I'm taking pictures. And like that turned into some of the most iconic ads of all time in that space. They're really cool looking back on those.
It like started an era. Like there was like Animal still has a good following, but they used to have this huge subculture. There's this huge subculture that Animal had. Like when they like fans would travel just to help out. Like there was so many people that just volunteered to set up the animal cage. Like they had this massive subculture of people where they would do anything for Animal, and anybody you saw lifting in ratty clothes who looked like they were trying to be homeless, you know, it's all because of Animal.
Yeah. It's weird too. You know, you talk about the following that they used to have and stuff, and it's like I almost don't even associate Animal with supplements because I don't really like see people that have like purchased I mean, not that I would run into a lot of that anyways, but I just don't I don't hardly see it near as much anymore. It's kind of weird, a weird thing.
No, and I think another thing that the market now is so saturated. There's
an endless number of companies to sell you that same
and influencers. Like, I mean, the number of supplement lines that exist now is just crazy.
Yeah, and the only way that you are gonna see like Animal in a local retail store is if that person likes Animal. You're gonna find like there's no Animal products in, you know, H&I Nutrition is a locally owned supplement store here. They also own Metroflex, the gym that I train at part-time. They don't have Animal in there. I don't think they have. I don't really think they have any mainstream supplements because it's all the same shit. And there's always going to be another company that's going to give you a better deal for the same shit. You know, like there's no, I mean, unless, like I said, unless you are a huge fan of Animal, like you're not going to have, you know, Animal in your stock because nobody cares. It's not trending.
Right. Okay, we've got another game that we play this one with every guest. It's pretty simple. It's overrated, underrated. So we have a special Marshall Johnson set of topics that are handpicked for you, and it's just your job to decide if each one is overrated or underrated. But the most important.
Are you trying to get me in trouble?
No, you'll find out that as we play these, you'll say, "Oh, okay, I get it here." So you'll get a good laugh out of some of them probably, and you just have to remember though, you can't ride the line. You do have to decide if each one is overrated or underrated. So
yeah, okay.
Okay, first one: overrated or underrated? Janko jeans.
Underrated. I still have 2 pairs of Jinko shorts that I wear from time to time just to piss my wife off because she thinks they're the most atrocious things in the world. But underrated. I wore Jinkos in high school. Yeah, good stuff.
I really do think you are now closer than ever to that trend coming all the way back. Like baggy is getting more back every month now. It's going to be just a matter of time before Jinko is right there.
Do you have a closet full then, just waiting for the day?
Nope, just 2 pairs. Just 2 pairs. That's all. 2 pairs of shorts is all I got. But
so, what do the shorts look like? How long are the shorts?
Calf down to your calves.
Oh yeah, right. Okay,
Yeah.
so about what I would picture as Jenko. Yeah, okay.
Oh yeah, stereotypical.
So your wife's not a fan though.
Not even a little bit.
Do the shorts have the
no.
pockets that go like all the way down to the calf too?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Massive pockets.
So
Yeah, you
super functional.
lose your shit. You lose your shit, and there's pockets are so big.
Okay. All right. Overrated or underrated? Fargo the movie.
Never seen it.
Oh boy.
Never seen it. I never saw it before I moved to Fargo, and then it just something that I never saw. Is it worth watching? Does it have anything to do with Fargo?
Actually, not. It has something to do with Fargo. It probably has more to do with the cities, actually. But
yeah,
I actually do think it is a culturally it's a good story.
It's pretty good.
It's a good crime story. I think it's culturally relevant and a good movie. I would recommend it.
I couldn't even tell you the genre. I don't. I don't.
It's an odd movie, you know. It's
Yeah.
it's definitely like a cult following sort of movie. I would say it's like a cult classic. It's
What would the
not
genre
like
be? Is it action, like
No,
crime mystery, like?
it's kind of like
Kind of like a
crime,
dark
mystery.
comedy, sort of.
Yeah, it's
in a way.
like but comedy elements. Yeah, where it's just it kind of really plays into the Fargo and Minnesota accent, and it takes place over the winter, and it's just like I think you would enjoy it. You would
if you like 80s action movies and that whole genre.
it.
Yeah, I think you would. I think you would enjoy it.
I'll have to give it a go then.
Yeah, especially if you can find it on VHS.
Yes.
I feel like Fargo is a movie you could find on VHS.
There's got to be. I bet you'd think in Fargo there's got to be thrift stores that just have copies laying around.
There's
somewhere.
a pawn shop in Fargo. There's a pawn shop in Fargo that has a VHS, a Fargo VHS.
Yeah, they got it. Yep, for sure.
Okay. So to be continued for an answer on that one. Overrated or underrated pump covers?
I rant about pump covers so much. I can't say that they're overrated because I've been doing that for years, but I never said pump cover. It's just that I will wear a hoodie for probably like my first 3 or 4 exercises to get warm, to get a sweat going. And then once I get warm and get a sweat going, then I will take it off. But oh my God. Because I lift sometimes at a public gym, I see a lot of the things that you don't see because I own my own gym.
Right.
But there will be girls at the gym wearing shorts that are way up in their ass, and they'll be lifting legs, and they'll have a hoodie on, and they'll hashtag it pump cover. I'm like, are you that fucking stupid? You realize you're lifting legs, you're not covering your pump, you dumbass. Like you think because you're wearing a hoodie that's pump cover. Like you don't even understand the basics of what you're fucking doing. Like you're not covering your leg. You're not covering anything. And then they'll like take it off to their sports bra, and they'll like pump cover, and they'll do more of their lunges or whatever the fuck it was they were doing. And pump cover as a hashtag, overrated. Overrated. Pump cover, as a
Like
means
just
to-
wearing something warm when you're starting your work, like an extra layer during the beginning of your workout. Like I agree with you. Like we have Massenomics gym, and it's just a basement. It's a basement gym, and it's usually cold, especially during the winter. It's not warm. And like that's what everyone does is like starts their workout with like wearing a sweatshirt because it's actually like a little chilly, and you like don't want to go into your workout like.
Is that term pretty new though? I don't remember hearing that until like in the last year or so,
isn't it?
Within the last I would say within like the last year or two.
Okay.
Generally, anything that you were going to ask me that has a hashtag has ever been trending, I will forever say overrated.
Okay, that's fair. All right, last one, and this one's worth all the marbles. Overrated or underrated Cobra Kai?
I love it. I love it up to the 3rd season. I love the Karate Kid movies. Just the nostalgia alone. The Karate Kid is another movie that I watch before I go to the gym. It's one of those staple movies that I watch before I go to the gym. the first season of Cobra Kai, awesome. All the callbacks, all the nostalgia, all the Easter eggs. Like I'd be watching it with my wife and my daughter, and they would say something or a song would be on. Like they would never catch it. Like that was from the Karate Kid, or that saying was from the Karate Kid, or they wore their hat like that, and like everything was like a callback to the Karate Kid, and all the Easter eggs where they would have sound bites from it. Like I fucking loved it. Second season, awesome. Third season was all right, and then it just took a hard fucking crash. Like they tried way too hard with the callbacks and the Easter eggs and everything. There
Too
was
much
too many
callback,
things,
yeah.
too many things just worked out. Like he just happens to go to Okinawa to save his company, and it just so happens that the person he saved, who was a kid, now runs the company that holds his company's life in balance. Like Jesus fucking Christ. Or Miguel goes to Mexico to find his dad. He just knows he lives in Mexico, so he goes to Mexico and finds him on the first fucking day. Like, come on. Like,
Yeah. Make a story of this at least.
everything just worked out way too easy. But the first 2 or 3 seasons I thought were awesome.
In the movie Karate Kid, do you think is Johnny a bad guy, or is he misunderstood?
Looking back on it, there is a lot to be said about Daniel being the bad guy.
Right.
I think when you watched it as a kid, it's kid who gets bullied, overcomes adversity. That's all you see as a kid. But as an adult, you're like, Daniel was always a cocky douchebag. He was always putting his nose where it didn't belong, and he was always starting shit. And he fucked around and found out so many times. You know what I mean? And looking back on it, it's like, yeah, there's a strong argument for Daniel being the bad guy, if not 50% responsible for everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. I think that makes a lot of sense. Good news, you passed overrated, underrated. So I add that up there with the 2745 total as your highest achievements. So congratulations.
Do I get a plaque? Do I get a plaque or like a participant? Do I get a medal?
Yeah, that should be in the mail. So yeah,
I signed up for that division.
Yeah,
so.
this is a master's division on that.
You get
here, so.
yes, it will say masters on it, whether you want it to or not. You passed overrated, underrated, but it was in the masters class, unfortunately. So
failed twice.
Yeah. We really appreciate you coming on. I think this is a lot of fun, and I hope we get to see you at the Arnold.
Yes, for sure. Swing by our booth. Yeah, we'd love to get to chat again.
Absolutely. And I think it's crazy. You got a booth like in the actual expo.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, like I was sponsored by Animal, and then I was also sponsored by New Breed. Both companies always had booths at the Arnold, and I would get to talk to like the high ups in Animal or the owner of New Breed, and to hear what they charge for booths there.
It's ridiculous.
Like, the fact that you guys spent that money to be there, I honestly hope it's worth your investment, because I know firsthand like how ridiculous. Some of those booths are like hundreds of thousands of dollars, like the bigger ones.
Yeah, and we've done this. Will be our 4th year doing it, so like we know it's worth our time and effort. Like it is.
And we don't have a huge booth. We have like a couple spots, so we're not quite on that level. But to us, it's a lot of money still, and it's a lot of work. Mm-hmm. But it is worth it. And part of it's selling stuff, which is cool. But also we just get to meet and talk to so many people like that. It's a fun experience. It's a lot of work, and I'm really tired by the time it's over, but it's cool.
It's really cool that it works out for you guys, because nobody, like the expo scene now as opposed to 10 years ago, like nobody, it's just crazy. Whatever's trending is what's popular. It's
Right.
not, it used to be the athletes were the draw. Like you went there to go see the pro athletes, and now big draws are people who just have a giant following haven't even accomplished
That's
anything.
for sure.
Haven't accomplished anything in the sport, but they've got
It's just
a line.
influencers.
The whole dynamic has changed, and the fact that you guys can go there and be successful, that says a lot for your following. So that's really cool.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll get to talk to you. We can give you your master's award when you're there. So.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, we'll. Megan competes on Friday, and then
Okay.
we're there till I leave on Sunday. I specifically wanted to be there on Saturday because I love giant expos. They're not as fun not being a sponsored athlete. When you're a sponsored athlete, you go anywhere. Like you
Right,
can
right.
the access is unlimited, but you're there as a spectator. It's cool, but it's not as cool as you going in the back room and you're seeing all the celebrity. You're rubbing elbows with all the celebrities and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll absolutely come look for you guys. Do you know where you're set up yet?
Yeah, we're I don't know, how do you describe it, Tommy?
It's it's when you
Are
walk.
you on the outside or are you on the inside?
We're on the inside. I think the XPC meet is in the back, kind of, right? Like you walk through. I don't know if you've seen the map, but
We're actually, if you walk in where the animal cage is at, we'll be like to the right, like down the hall, or like down
like
to the right,
5 aisles or something. Yeah, yeah.
So it's just an easy point of trying to figure out where you guys are out. If you're around the animal cage, you guys are kind of around that area. So
yeah, we're in the front where you walk in. We're just to the right hand side, and we're almost on the far right end is where you'll find us.
Yep.
Yeah. The last Arnold I was at was 2020, and that was when they didn't even know if they were gonna. They didn't even know, but we were already there, and I think probably 5 or 6 times from when we got there to when the Arnold, they had closed it, opened it, closed it, only open to athletes. So when we actually went there, I got to watch the pro strongman with like a crowd full of 20 people. There was more athletes there than there were people. So that was really freaking cool because we just had first access to everything. So I'm excited.
We had a booth that year, and we had our trailer loaded, and we were like hours away from leaving when we found out like the expo was going to be canceled, and we're like,
was that your first year?
Our first year was 2019.
Yeah.
Oh, so you went from 2019 was awesome.
Oh, that
2019
was
insane.
It was craziness.
So you went from like the pinnacle to the shitter. Real fast.
And we still
talk
went
about
in
2019. It's just
we went in 2017 and 2018 as like media spectators. So we got to experience that side of it a little bit more too. But yeah, it's a different show now than it was in those days. 17,
18, and especially 19, it's just the number of people there is just like was staggering. And I'm hoping it's building closer to, it's building back up in that direction. I think this year will be more people than last and more people than the year before that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would like to think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So awesome. We appreciate you coming on. We got the Fargo man on finally.
All right, cool. Thank you. And I saw that you guys are getting involved more with the local meets, like you not only with Dave, but I know like Jason Ellert and Anthony Carlquist, you guys are getting a part of their meets too. So that's also really cool.
Yeah.
Will you guys come down for that? The Fargo meet?
We have
one with the strongman. No, it was strongman.
Yeah, we did
Jason
something. Yeah, we did the did that one already happen? Was it the Winter Classic? Or I get a little confused,
like
but
2 or 3 weeks. It was like 3 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. We have come up before for Fargo powerlifting meet where Dave ran it in like
it wasn't the Y. What was it at?
It was like
he had him at Quartz Plus, and
I think it was Quartz Plus. Yeah, I think it was Quartz Plus.
Yeah, it wasn't at Metroflex. So yeah, so we have come up there for that before, and it's definitely something on our radar. It just always depends on if we can make it work out. But we whenever we can. I think it's cool to get up there.
Are you gonna try now because Dave's meet at the end of the year is now nationals? It's nationals.
He sent me the venue and stuff. It looked really cool. I don't know if you've seen that where Nationals is going to be at, but he sent me a picture and he's like, your booth could be right here. And it looked like a really cool setup there that it's going to be.
And Ed Cohn there. That's enough alone right there. That's enough right there.
Dave does a really good job of bringing people in that people want to see, and like he does a good job. He's at least regionally done a lot of cool stuff for powerlifting, I think.
Well, and you can tell he invests back into his meets, like into making them as big and as good as they can possibly be.
Yeah, he brought powerlifting in the Fargo, Minnesota, South Dakota, Montana area. He brought it back to life. Like
Yes.
he's doing amazing things. Like people don't understand what he's done. He's brought back he brought it back to life. So like hundreds of people are benefiting from it. You went from maybe one meet a year to 2 or 3 meets a year now. So he's done an amazing job, bringing powerlifting back to life in this area.
Yeah, with a big part of his help, we're involved in it too. But our meet that we run in Aberdeen, this will be the second year. There hadn't been a meet in Aberdeen in as
30, 40 years.
Right. And now this year it's a 90 lifter 2 platform meet, and Dave does an awesome job with his the flamethrowers and just the spectacle of it. He's on the ball. He knows what he's doing.
Well, with your guys' following in the sport, it's a no-brainer that it's an absolute no-brainer that you guys put on a meet, because just your following alone dictates that you're going to have a lot of people there. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that's just a no-brainer. Like you guys could do that forever and always have a good turnout.
yeah. But Dave is definitely a part of that, because we don't necessarily want to be the people running we don't want to be worry about the federation or the judges and all that stuff. And that's where he comes in, that he's a great asset for us to be able to lean on and like do some of that stuff that we're not qualified to do, honestly.
But also he leans on your name
Right.
as well.
Yeah,
So
no,
Right. It's a
has
good
been a
partnership.
great team.
Yeah.
It's a great
Right.
team
Right.
effort.
And he's just good to work with. So we just got to get him to make sure he's following your coaching and not going.
I don't see him train because we're not at the same gym, but I'll find out one way or the other. He's complying so far. So
Okay. Awesome. Well, we appreciate it, Marshall. This is good stuff.
thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot,
Awesome.
Marshall. See ya.
See ya.
Later, fellas.
Cool beans. Cool beans.
Those are Fargo
Those
cool beans. So
Fargo cool beans.
they're cool
cold.
beans.
Yeah. Fargo, like one of the few places that's actually colder than western northeast South Dakota.
Yes, it is. Did you? I didn't ask. Did you tell us? Did you guys actually get snow there?
Yeah, it was snowing today. I don't know if there might have been like an inch or something like that, but the ground was all white. The snow was completely gone, so
Yeah,
it's back, baby.
it's back.
Yeah, that damn snow. Yeah,
Well, that was cool talking to Marshall.
yeah,
Excited. Get to see him at the Arnold. Meet him in person.
yeah, absolutely. I had to take some ibuprofen just now so I can be ready to try and go to bed.
I was assuming it wasn't caffeine pills, because if it was that, I was going to say your timing's all off there, Tanner.
I just run on caffeine.
I have to
even
take a
when
little no-dose here.
Even when I'm asleep, I want a really fast heart rate. Have you ever taken any melatonin before?
I never have. I don't have problems sleeping, so I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm
That's true. You can fall asleep in a moment's notice.
I
You wouldn't have time for the melatonin to kick in. Even
you
you'd be
think
like,
once in a while how you told me that how you're impressed about how I can fall asleep within seconds. And,
I swear to God, that's a superpower. Like, there's people that would kill to have that power. I mean, I would. Like, if I could just. Sometimes that happens. On occasion, I'm like that, but I feel like you can just do that all the time.
Dude,
like you
when
can be
I'm
like,
when
"No,
I'm really
sleeping
tired,
now."
when I'm really tired, you might as well just tell me someone drugged me, because
Right.
I can't even like hang on to consciousness. It doesn't matter what I do. It's a just absolute battle.
And I guess every time we're in that situation, we are doing things that
Well,
we
yes,
are
we are.
really tired. But I just can't shut my motor down. Like, sometimes I just have this racing going on inside that I can't get to quit.
When I can't sleep, that's because that's what's doing. We've always talked about it on here. The moment I start doing, my brain decides it's time to start doing math at night. Oh God,
Yeah.
I'm really in trouble then. It's like, let's start
I
crunching
hate that.
some
Like, I can
numbers
start
here. It's
being, and like I'll have
my
to mentally tell myself, like, no, stop. Stop
I
thinking
can't even.
about that.
I know I'm doing. Actually, that happened to me this past weekend. I told Liam,
Yeah.
like, "Yep." I started trying to crunch some numbers in my head at night, where there's no reason for me to do this. It makes no sense.
And you're getting anxiety about something
and
that
that's
in the
what it
morning
is.
you're going
It's
to be
just
like,
a
why was I
spiral.
even worried
Yep,
about
the
that?
spiral starts, and all of a sudden, 2.5 hours later, you're thinking, "Why am I still awake?" And that just every so often that happens.
I
don't
can
like
actually
it,
feel
but it
my
does
heart
happen.
rate not coming down when I'm like that then too. Like, I just don't feel that. Like, I can't feel that action.
It's the
like, you
worst.
can be laying there motionless, but you're not actually like relaxed.
And I'm very against checking my phone in the middle of the night. You know,
Yeah.
once I go to bed for the night, my phone outside of tapping it to see what time it is, it does not get looked at until I'm up for the morning. But there was a point there the other night, I'm just like, nope, looking at my phone would be significantly better than playing this math game I'm doing in my head. So I guess I'll
what I do
read my phone until I get tired.
When I run into that issue, I will pull up like a YouTube video. And like, this is actually helping me relax more, even though I know that the screen time isn't like ideal. But I'm like, this is actually shutting my mind off at least.
It's just a distraction. At the like I can actually fall asleep watching YouTube videos or reading somewhat boring articles.
Yeah,
it can be really tough to fall asleep. But yeah, once you start getting into this weird anxiety spiral. But
yeah,
so I don't even know why. Oh yeah, it's just talking about falling asleep. I still do.
Superhuman.
Still, most
power,
nights do fall asleep incredibly fast. And in case you're wondering where I'm at with that, it's still.
So you've never taken a melatonin thing?
No, never taken it. So yeah, that was. I get very, out of all the things you could take, that's one that really makes me overly cautious of things that could affect your sleep in some way, because a lot of those things are habit forming. And then I always remember Ryan telling me one time he was going through a little spell of having trouble sleeping, and telling it he was taking melatonin a few times, and he said it was the worst night of sleep because I was having the craziest, worst nightmares every single night. And he goes, so yeah, I guess I'm sleeping, but at what cost? So then he's like, yeah, I'm never taking melatonin again.
Right. Every once in a while, if I am doing that thing where I can't get I can't just do
shut it down.
I will go take one because
do you think it makes a difference?
Yeah, I think it helps me probably get to sleep. But I would agree with what he's saying. I don't know if it's always the best sleep, but sometimes it doesn't matter if it's the best sleep, because if the alternative is
unconsciousness is all you need.
Right. Yeah, I just literally need my mind to have a break, So that's
NyQuil also works for that too.
Yeah, I haven't taken that for a long time, but that used to be. I used to like that.
That's always, when I'm in a situation like what you're in right now, that's when I start the Dayquil, NyQuil regimen. Then know you're doing everything you can to fight this.
I'm wondering if just podcasting has even kind of broke my fever a little bit. I'm feeling like the least fever. I still have the aches and stuff.
Nothing little Massenomics talk can't cure, right?
That's get my mind off of it. Yeah. All right. I started watching some television since I literally had nothing to do today. So I watched television for the first time in a long time. And I watched, I know some people are really big fans of Yellowstone. Mm-hmm. And I watched the first season of that and have never come back to it.
Yep.
But what I maybe the first or second season, something like that. But what I watched is 1883.
Is that a prequel or a...
Yeah, it is a prequel, because Yellowstone is modern day, and 1883 would be like the ancestors of
Does it actually take place in 1883?
Yes, it's Tim McGraw is the main one of the main actors in there, and he actually does a pretty good, he's pretty good in that, and it's basically about them going on the Oregon Trail in 1883, and I found it far more interesting than Yellowstone itself. Really? I thought it was considerably better, just because the subject matter was more interesting to me than the Yellowstone is all these modern day, I don't know, all this legal politics, and fighting.
Yeah, they're playing a whole different game.
And some of it's a little unbelievable to me, all the murdering that's going on. In Bozeman or whatever. In
these crimes are just totally unsolved. No one can get to the bottom of this.
That's what I'm like. There's people getting murdered here daily.
Yeah. But if this was a real place, your per capita murder rate, you'd be the most dangerous city in America.
Yes. Whereas when I watch 1883, there's definitely elements of that, it being dramatized and over. I assume there was a little less murdering going on on the Oregon Trail, but probably these elements existed a little. I can believe this stuff. But it was pretty good. I liked it actually considerably better than Yellowstone.
Interesting. See, I've never seen an episode of either one of them. I know there's
another one then too. There's one called 1923, which I think is
so it's sequel to the prequel.
Yeah. So I mean, this is a cash cow. I think this guy is Taylor Sheridan is the one that writes these. I don't know if you know him at all. Not sure that I like him. Is he known
for something outside of this even, or is he just?
No, I think it's just these.
Okay, and now he realizes he's hit gold, and
he's hit gold, and he's mining it like crazy. I'm not sure what my opinion of Taylor Sheridan is, though. I guess my jury is still out on that.
Would you say you have a lot of strong opinions on various Hollywood writers, or is
Well, the only reason I have an opinion is because he was on the Joe Rogan
was he?
podcast.
Recently?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was recently, and I just don't know if I liked the way he was saying the things he was saying. Like, I'm just kind of like, I don't know about this guy.
I could see that. I could totally
But
see
1883, I thought was good.
He was onto something with 1883, though.
And it's the first thing I've watched in a long time, so I don't even know how I came to it. I did it in.
You got to watch. When you're sick, you got to watch something. You can't just stare at the wall all day.
That's what I needed to. I was in like a feverish stupor, and I just like stumbled into Paramount.
I either got to do math in my head or go to Paramount.
I found out we have Paramount for some reason, so then I was just seeing what's in there.
Yeah, what is it's hiding in
Paramount
this chest
Plus.
Yeah, I decided to also start watching a TV show again, and I am into I think I'm on the 4th episode of the final season of Succession. Finally wrapping that one up. And
see, I liked that show, but I just just haven't gotten back to it.
It's good, man.
So it's the final season. They're not making
I think it got done last year. I just never got around to it. So and also knowing that a show is only 4 seasons long makes it a little more digestible than jumping into Sopranos or Game of Thrones or something. But yeah, still good. Still after 4 seasons, I'm still liking it so far. Really wondering where they're going to take this thing. So if you found the first season enjoyable at all, the 4th keeps the formula going. But
did they ever finalize the succession plan? Like, did it all get sorted out? Who's in charge?
Let's just say things are getting more interesting by the episode here. So I don't want to spoil anything. So you got that.
I assume they've gotten everything resolved by now, and everyone gets along.
Yep. They all finally realized that they're just multi-billionaires, and this whole thing is kind of pointless. And so the show is done. Yeah. That's the end.
Is the old man still alive?
Well, I can't make any comments on that either. You'll just have to watch the show.
All right.
And then also there was the new season of True Detective that came out. And again, I don't
even know what that show really is.
Did you watch the first season or not?
No, I've never seen it.
Oh my God. If you're sick tomorrow, that's what you need to do. It's like 7 episodes. That's it. It's just every season its own thing. That's on HBO shows. That's in my Mount Rushmore of HBO shows. True Detective season 1.
They make new.
Yep, its own. What do you call it? A mini series, anthology, whatever it is. Each season, but that's the beauty of it. True Detective. You just watch the first season. You don't even got to worry about watching any of the other ones because they're not worth it.
I just didn't really like the name of it that well,
dude. True Detective.
It made me think of too much that it's like CSI.
Dude, no, it's I can't watch a single episode of the first season. Is so good. It will change. That was the show that changed my entire perception of Matthew McConaughey. He is that. Him and Woody Harrelson are the stars of the first season, and it is that damn good. It is so good. It is.
Well, that's a good cast.
It is as good of scripted crime thriller drama that exists. Oh man, it hits all the boxes, and they don't drag it out. It's just 7 episodes of just pure amazing storytelling. It is one of the best HBO shows you could watch.
How does it compare to The Wire?
I can see how The Wire is. I'll put it this way: The Wire is more like a sparkling pamplemousse. It's the all-time classic, but it's an acquired taste that might take you some time to warm up to.
Okay.
Whereas True Detective is like getting your first hit of Mountain Dew, and you're like, "Whoa, this is different, and this is just instantaneous. This is awesome." Yeah, if you watch the first episode of the first season of True Detective, and you say, "This doesn't do it for me," I mean, that would blow my mind if you said that. And also, if you watch that first episode, there's no, I just cannot picture a person watching that and being like, "Nah, that's not my style of show." I can't picture that. Assuming you like crime and thriller type stuff, but who doesn't like that? That's what every show is now.
Yeah, that's true.
But none of the other ones have held up to this newest season. I've only got 2 episodes in, and it doesn't seem to have the hook that the first one did. The first one, you're hooked instantly. You're just like,
so
what
it's just
the
all
hell?
different people on the other ones.
It's different cast, a different crime. It's a whole different story. They have nothing to do with each other at all.
Okay.
But that first one, it's magic, man. It is magic.
I'm going to add it to the list with The Wire.
Dude, no, put it ahead of The Wire. It's 7. Like, this is one that you could sit down in a day and be like, after you watch an episode, say, "Nah, I'm just going to finish this. This needs to happen." It is up there with the most Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure it's 7 episodes. That is so. It's so good. It's so good. It's amazing. It's the only TV series I've ever watched twice in my life. Never watched any TV show twice. The Wire, True Detective season 1 is the only one.
So I should put it ahead of The Wire.
I think you should put it ahead of everything on your list. I think that should be. I would actually you were hyping up 18 whatever it is. I'd say nope. Put that to the side. The True Detective goes ahead of that. It's more important than that one. I'd even say it's that good.
So I'll consider putting it ahead of The Wire.
Yeah. So, okay, baby steps. Yeah, just at least put it even with The Wire, and if something changes, you can go slightly above it.
Yeah. Okay. Also, everyone, make sure to check out Build Fast Formula. More of our friends from the Dakotas, this time from Watertown, South Dakota. They partnered with multiple-time podcast guest Chris Duffin to create Build Fast Formula supplements. Check them out at buildfastformula.com. You can see all their products there. Vaso Blitz, of course, the nitric oxide pump support supplement that we've all come to know and love. Then they've got the Full Blitz, which throws the caffeine into the equation. And then probably my personal favorite is their 80-20 protein, which I take every day. Check out their full line of supplements at buildfastformula.com, and then make sure to use discount code Massenomics. That'll save you 10% on every order that you make there. And if you like any of the products and just want to sign up to have them delivered at whatever your schedule is of a normal subscription, then you'll save an additional 10%. So along with our code, you can get 20% off. Thank you, Build Fast.
And today's episode is also brought to you by Texas Power Bars. If you're a longtime listener of this show, you know the history, you know the timeline, you know they're the real deal. And we're going to tell you a little bit about something we have coming up with Texas Power Bars.
Yeah,
we got a fun little video that I don't want to spoil it, but let's just say Tanner has amassed quite the collection of Texas Power Bars. And we have a great video coming up where Tanner does a little show and tell and a little story time with all the videos. And it takes us from the beginning to present day, ending with the 29 millimeter power bar, which I just got to squat on that bad boy the other day. My first time actually getting to use it, and that is a nice bar. The knurling on there will jump up and bite you if you're not careful. Dude, it's like a rattler snake. I'm so not used to real knurling. Everything's so passive that I actually had to look, and it's been a long time since a barbell's a knurling marks on my back. And once I got done lifting that night, by the time I got my 3-hour car ride, got home, took a shower, I still had barbell marks on my back. So it's the real deal.
She'll nip you. Yeah.
It's a real deal. We love Texas Power Bars. And if you want to see a piece of their legendary bars and get one for yourself, make sure to go to texaspowerbars.com.
Excellent. Oh, should we wrap this one up?
I think so. You're sick. We better bring it on home.
Bring it on home, Johnny. Make sure to like Massenomics everywhere. We talked about our YouTube. That'd be the number one thing I'd direct you to is go subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're not already. And please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. We need to pump those numbers up because right now we're at rookie numbers and we got to pump those up. And then most importantly, we talked about the line of the sand for supporting members. So if you're listening to this on Monday the 19th or Sunday the 18th, you can still get signed up to get in on this next free crew gift that's going out to everyone. And this one will change the game. This one will be one of those things that
you're going to want to be on the right side of history.
Yeah, later on you will ask, were you joined before that or after that? That'll be a line of demarcation. What is demarcation? Does that make sense if I said
don't know. It sounded believable.
Okay.
Let's see.
I think that's right.
The action of fixing the boundary or limits of something. That sounds about right then.
Yeah. We'll go with that. The line of demarcation is almost in the sand. We're demarking the line. So please join
I think
up.
though that demarcation is kind of a line. So you're sort of saying line twice.
Just saying it over twice.
Yeah, because the example they use here is a horizontal band produces a distinct demarcation 2 inches from the top. So, like saying a distinct line
Oh.
of demarcation is kind of saying a line twice.
Yeah, right.
So the demarcation in the sand is probably what the better thing to say.
Right. Okay. That's good to know for future reference. Whenever we have more lines in the sand.
For
Whenever
future
we have more
demarcations.
demarcations. Yeah. Okay. I think that's it. Tommy, where do they find you at?
You can find me at Tomahawk_D.
You can follow me at Tanner_Bear. Just make sure to follow Massenomics at Massenomics.
See ya.